Hello and welcome back, everybody. I'm Necromancer, and today we're going to be heading out a little bit further in the first-person run and kind of showing off exactly how the first-person perspective changes some of the combat. Hopefully we can get into one of the two boss fights here in the Forest of the Fallen Giants here and really show you just exactly how this mod messes with things and the difficulties that arise because you don't have a full 360 degree, really easy third-person camera at your disposal at all moments. I'll admit, it does kind of make certain drops easier. There we go. But you see, if I hadn't been careful, I actually could have completely rolled off the edge there just because I have no real sense of how close I am to that ledge, just because of how the camera is working. It does actually make for some very interesting little tightrope walking type sections. And once you get in your enemy's face, it works out rather nicely, but getting to that point and that little game of chicken of, do I swing now or do I wait just that extra moment to make sure that I'm in base-to-base contact with the enemy before swinging? It really throws a whole new dynamic into the combat that I would really recommend for anyone who's looking for a way to spice up Dark Souls 2, because I know I certainly was. PvP has been a really great revival for some of the interest in Dark Souls 2 for me, but now that we have all 3 DLCs and I've played out most of the PvE content so many times, I really am looking for just something that little extra bit special. Especially now that there's a lot of homogenization in the upper level metas, so anything that can bring a little spark of newness back to the game for me is really great. That's what a jumping attack looks like, and boy is it wonky. It kind of just feels like you're sitting there in place for like a year, and while I guess that's kind of how regular jumping attacks works as well, it's just made all the more evident by the fact that you're in that first person and just sitting there as you kind of coil up for the jump. No matter, I come on in and grab the fire longsword. Chests are kind of interesting in this mod. They feel really satisfactory and really great coming to an area and opening up a chest and just seeing the item sitting there in the center of it. It's kind of a fun little change up. I know that not everybody is so thrilled about waiting for chests to open, but you know, I think it actually works. It builds some anticipation, especially when you know where all the chests are and what is in them. I think that having something special about the chest, just that moment of, oh, it's coming, I'm getting an item, is kind of helps with the game, I don't know, the satisfaction of the game. I know Ego Raptor isn't exact, I absolutely hate that enemy because of that, because I like to get the first strike with a throwing knife, and if you can land the second throwing knife, it's a kill shot, at least on the first new game. But generally speaking, when you back up to get the second shot, there's one of two things that are going to happen. Either A, the attack is going to lodge in the wall behind yourself, as some arrow attack and throwing knife attacks do because of how the missile mechanic works. It actually spawns a little bit behind yourself and gets thrust forward, but it also has the problem where it can sometimes either clip the ceiling or the root that he's standing on, making it a very difficult shot to pull off with any degree of consistency. That's why I was a little bit surprised when I managed to snag it on my first try when I was first coming through the area, but no matter. I make through it just fine, and I can burn the soul of a proud knight to get the full 10,000 I'm going to be spending here with Melentia. As you can see, I killed Benhart just so that I can get his shield. It starts off with 80 physical block that has some scaling attached to it as well, and with just those 3 simple purchases of the Ferrous Lockstone, Leningrass Key, and his Parma, I can grab the covetous Silver Serpent Ring +1 that I honestly think is a staple throughout the whole game. It ends your playthrough around soul level 170, 180 if you're using it throughout, and that's really great for me because I like to take it all the way up to the top with a full soul level 200 meta. Wow, that's a very interesting perspective on the ladder. I never tried that before. But I don't really agree with the soul level 150 meta that a lot of people kind of accumulated around at the beginning of Dark Souls 2. I think the soul level 200 meta works a little bit better because it allows you to fully specialize into 2 stats and still have decent defenses and regular stats, or it allows you to sacrifice 1 specialization in order to really buff up your tank stats. So it really allows you to get a diverse build that's still focused, but at the same time, it gives you enough to actually get the most out of your weapons and whatnot. If you really want to go full glass cannon, you can go with a 50-50 build into one thing or another with whatever stats you need to... Oh dear. That's why you don't want to use the lock-on mechanic with this mod. I completely whiffed that fight, and now I just need to retreat to kind of start it all over. There we go. Oh. He lived. That's not good. This guy's going to be quite the trick. I really should have equipped my shield before coming into this area. There we go. He whiffs that, and I can come in for the follow-up. Now I can finish the rest of these guys off in my leisure. Locking on works much better there, but I managed to fumble the lock-on and switch to aggro midway through the fight, which means I couldn't finish off the spear guy in time. You can actually see a bit of the funkiness of the camera whenever you take a kind of rolling drop, like you just saw me do and when I first came down, and right there even. Isn't that... Oh, that guy seems to have gone up the ladder, but it's really strange because it allows you to see the back of your character's head for a moment or two. Where's... Oh, the guy over there. I was like, where's the archer coming from? But you can see the back of your character's head for a moment or two. Oh, dear. Oh, come on. Yes. Managed to pull it off? Oh, and that's how you get a backstab without even looking. Feels very great indeed. I was actually a little bit dismayed because, oh, let's go for it. Yes. You can completely make it past that boulder without dying if you just go hard at the moment you hear it moving. But I found out last time that I had kind of forgot to bump my sound up a little bit, so sorry about that. It should be totally fixed in this episode, and going forward from here, I'll be sure to check at the start of each of my recordings. Talk through all of his nonsense, and I am actually going to grab the little bit of caster supplies over here because those will be useful on this character, considering I want to kind of go into a very diverse magic build. Definitely some pyromancies and hexes coming up for this character. In addition, I'm going to be wanting to grab a spear, but there are no guaranteed good spears, I don't think, until a little bit later in the game, so we're either going to have to hope for some RNG, or just get lucky, or maybe even devote to a slightly suboptimal spear. My absolute hope is that one of the spear-wielding hollows in the forest here will drop a lovely winged spear, because I recently gave that a shot on one of my other characters and found out that it does very... Oh dear. I didn't see that I was going to clip the little edge there, so let's just go unlocked. See how that treats us. But I used the winged spear on one of my other characters quite recently, and I was absolutely shocked to see the damage it was outputting. I was really not expecting that much out of it, considering it's just a regular spear. And it really hits hard, especially if you're managing your spacing properly. So that is something to keep in mind. I wanna... Let's bring in the fire longsword for this next guy. If you don't have any fire bombs, it's best to trigger these right as he's coming up the stairs just to kill him outright, because you're gonna have to... Oh dear. You know, if you can manage it, but you're gonna have to pay the health cost sometime or another, so it's just best to take him out at the same time. Back to the hand axe for those wonderful sweeping attacks. that are so helpful when you can't actually see what you're hitting. And hollow soldier leggings. Not a spear, not even a halberd. I think a halberd might make a nice stand-in while I wait to get a good spear, but I don't know. I'll have to figure that out based on the drops that I get by clearing through this next area, so hopefully that all works out. Let's switch into the witching urns just in case I need a little bit of extra damage in this encounter, because I could really foresee this going poorly. Oh dear. Yep. They are coming out. Guns a-blazing. Let's do one more for good measure. Yes, that takes 2 of them out, which leaves 1 of them left, which really is easy to take out. If I hadn't used those 2 witching urns, that fight could have gone quite poorly indeed, and that just was not something that I wanted to risk. They even replace it with a single firebomb, which is nice. I would have liked that earlier when I could have used it to take out that bum-rushing spear hollow, but it worked. Knock once to enter, and the hollows in there will open that door up for me. Traps in this mod are very interesting because you can kind of just see the poison welling up or the crossbow pop out of nowhere. It's actually quite comical. I'll be sure to point that out next time I find a chest, and hopefully it will be a crossbow version because, again, the crossbow model comes out of complete nowhere and it just looks ridiculous when it happens. Oh, he has a drop, which means it could be the winged spear. My fingers are crossed. Let's see what we get. Winged spear! Oh, happy day! RNGesus is real and he loves me. That is fantastic. I'm going to be switching to that as soon as I can get the stats for it. I believe it actually takes 15 dex, while the... Oh, and 11 strength, if I'm not mistaken. And the bandit only starts with 9, 14, even though I did bump it up to 10, so I'll need to level up at least twice before I can equip it, but it's waiting for me, and oh wow, that is really great. I was not expecting it, but, you know, hollows deliver. We're in a really great spot. I'm kind of happy about that. That was going to be one of the really sticking points of this run, was whether or not I could get an early spear, or whether or not I was just going to have to go with some substitutes until the time came, but no. They gave me an early spear, and I am all set. Time to just clear through the rest of this area, and I can head on over. Grab this little bit. Oh dear. Okay, I thought I was going to get stuck. I'm just not going to bother with that. I've had it happen a few times where I just get completely stuck on that drop, and it is the silliest thing. Let's take out the guys above before I deal with the ironclad, just so I'm not getting pelted from above. Let's equip my throwing knives. Back to the witching urns. Those witching urns really are a lifesaver here in the forest, especially if you're worried about taking damage from some of these guys or are dealing with them in just a suboptimal way. The witching urns completely trivialize some of these... Oh. Well, scratch whatever I was just saying. When managed properly, the witching urns trivialize some of these... some of these encounters. Come on. Oh dear. I regret everything. My rolls, they do nothing. There we go. Took a little bit of extra damage, but that just means I can life gem up early before I go into the fight with the ironclad and not worry about it. Pop that. Drop on down. And me and him are ready to go. Bait out his swing. Oh, the spacing on this is just so wonky. There we go. And one heavy attack should bash him out. Yeah. Any sort of blunt damage just does absolute wonders against the ironclads in any of their forms. Even in the Old Iron Keep, the 2, or I suppose there are 5, but the 2 mandatory ironclads that you have to go past take about 2 hits on a fully upgraded, or even just a minorly upgraded with good strength craftsman hammer, so you can really see exactly how weak they are. That generally an unupgraded weapon with high base stats, but of the bludgeoning variety, will just wreck their day. Come on, I need to bait him into a 3 swing, or that. That works just as well. Roll out of the archer's range, and time to equip a shield. I've been forgetting that for this whole time, and now's the moment. Yeah. Archers have no power if you take away their ability to fight at range. Oh, that was not a backstab. There we go. Oh, that wasn't a kill shot. I'm regretting everything again. Time to get out. Let's go for a oh, dear. Oh, that didn't work. Come on. There we go. Those delayed swings are just so difficult to deal with. Because he covers the spearman while he recovers. So, oh, there we go. It was one of those moments where you either had to go hard or go home, and I managed to squeeze it out. There we go. Tag that open so that I can grab that. As you can see, I am actually using life gems for once. It's a little bit rare for me, but again, I'm trying to change up my stance on life gems and kind of use them as needed, as they're intended to be used, so that way I don't end the new game cycle with like 96 of them. Because they give you a lot in the DLCs, and honestly, they give you a lot in the base game, and I really should have been using them this whole time, but it's that idea of consumables. I don't want to use them. I'll use them in boss fights and like nowhere else, and I really need to just start using them as I'm just casually clearing the levels, and that's what I'm trying to, that's what I'm trying to do. It's kind of sad whenever you see their ragdolls disappear, especially when they're stuck in wonky angles like in the wall like that. It's very entertaining, and it's a little sad to see them fade away. But let's grab my little summoning thing. I wonder... No, probably for the best that we don't actually get summoned into anyone's world, because going through any sort of loading screen resets the mod, so it might get a little finicky, especially if I'm in someone else's world on a modded playthrough. That's a can of worms I really don't want to mess with. This sort of modded play thing is something that should be very much kept to your own world. Don't involve anyone else with it. 1, 2, parry! Oh, beautiful! That's what I was looking for. Yes. When backstabs become very hard to pull off, go for face stabs. Parry! Oh! Yes. This is just working out too good. I am very, very happy with how things are working out for me. Managing to nail the parries with this Benhart's Parma, the wonderful small shield with great physical defense available from Square One. I got beautiful, beautiful RNG down in that underground... Oh, dear. My lock-on failed. There we go. Oh, no, that's not a kill shot. Ah. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Turn camera. There we go. Oh, come off it. I don't want to roll here. There we go. There we go. Oh, my goodness. That was just silly. I don't know what happened, but somehow my lock-on broke right before I actually loosed the throwing knife, and so it didn't hone, and so that really borked the entire affair. I just want to point out that I managed to get that crystal lizard unlocked in first-person mode. No one should be complaining about that first Titanite lizard. They give that one to you on a silver platter if you know it's there. So just throwing that out to all y'all. If you have any sort of bludgeoning or mace type attack, that crystal lizard is yours for the taking. Looking at the time, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to actually head down and take on the last giant today, but what I am going to do is make it up to this bonfire before I say goodbye. In between, on the break, I'm probably going to head over to Majula, spend a few levels, maybe upgrade my winged spear some, as well as grab up all the Estus Flash shards and upgrade that, so I'm not going to bore you with that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm having a really great time with this mod. It really, really changes things up. I highly recommend it. Really, give it a shot if you're into Dark Souls 2. It's worth your time. It works very nicely, and everything about it's been great so far. So, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to engage in the comments below, I'd love to chat about the mod and Dark Souls 2 in general, but thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.